Alright, deadlifts are a tricky exercise to learn. And they're definitely one similar to, if you've watched the video that I did on squats, you want to really make sure you've got good hip and ankle mobility before you really start to work on these. So if you're not there yet, I suggest working on those mobility drills and stretching and whatnot until you move on to this exercise. But assuming you're ready for it, I'll give you a crash course here in the proper mechanics of it. And I'm going to do it with a pair of dumbbells. Typically you'll see somebody, if you pull up a video on YouTube, you'll see them doing it with a barbell in most cases. But you can also do it with this pair of dumbbells, which is in a lot of cases might be a little bit more readily available, in the home environment, wherever you may be working out. If you want to do them in the gym with a barbell, that's fantastic. If you don't have that available, you can do them with dumbbells as well. So mechanically, it'll look a little bit similar to the squat. You might see somebody do it and say, well, how is that really different than doing a squat? Well, the deadlift, you're going to have a little bit more of a hinge in the hips. You have that hip hinge in both exercises. You do the squat, the hips come back, and you get lower and drive back up. But with the deadlift, you're going to have that counterweight in front of you that's pulling down and it's pulling forward. So you're using a lot more of your glutes and your hamstrings to resist that down and forward force. So you really have to really develop that area as you work up to heavier weight. So I'm going to do them from the side. It's a little easier to see the mechanics from the side, and then I'll turn and show from a forward angle. So I'm going to have the weights at my side. I'm going to have my feet just about shoulder width apart, and I'm going to come down, and the weights are going to come just in front of my shins, and I'm going to come back up, and my hips are going to come forward, glutes tighten up at the top, and then I'm going to sink back down, the weights come down, and again, I'm coming up, locking the hips out. So from the front angle, again, I'm coming down, the weights come down my legs, they're slightly in front of my shins, and I'm going to drive back up. I'm pushing off of my heels, I'm not pushing off of my toes. The easiest way to think of it is, instead of trying to pull the weight up, think about driving your heels through the floor. So I'm coming down, I'm driving my heels through the floor, extending the hips, locking out at the top, and that's it. So that's the basics of the dumbbell deadlift. There's a lot of intricacies to this exercise. It's really one you want to master before you start moving into heavy weights, but that's a good basics kind of view of it to kind of get the hang of it and start practicing it with some light dumbbells and then start to work your way up. Make sure you check out your form, use a mirror if you have one available, make sure that back is staying flat. You don't want to round over or anything like that. That's when you start to run into lower back issues. So be very careful of that, and that's it for the dumbbell deadlift.